Welcome to New Hope Lutheran Church and Pastor Charlie's Toolbox. Well, you might be wondering what I'm doing in my garage in January because it's a little cool out. What I have here, this thing, you may not immediately recognize what it is. In some ways, you might even think that since it's got this funny hump here at the front, it might be a drone of some sort, which probably would lead you to ask, why is Pastor Charlie building a drone in his garage? On the other hand, at first glance, you might also think it's some kind of submersible. You know, one of those things they send underwater for undersea exploration. But that could also lead to a lot of questions about what I do here and why. So, what is it? Well, I'm just going to move the camera a bit and we'll take a better look. Can you see it now? Does this help? It's a snowmobile, of course, but I made some minor alterations to it, like I took the windshield off, you know, that goes right there, and I've lowered the handlebars a little bit, but when you see it like that, you recognize it once you've taken a better look at it, a closer look. And you can see it has skis, and if you get right down underneath, you'll notice it also has a track. It's a snowmobile. Now, once you've seen the full picture, it all becomes obvious, doesn't it? While a drone or submersible might seem a really neat thing to build, realistically, what one wants in January, well, it's a snowmobile. So it's a matter of discovering what you really need by taking a closer look and then deciding. That's what our lesson for today, right here, John 1, 29 to 42, what that's about. Taking a closer look. It starts with John the Baptist, who you might remember showed up in public long before Jesus did. And John, he had disciples, people who followed him around and learned from his teachings, because John seemed to be the real deal in what they were looking for. A guy named Andrew was one of the disciples of his, and he thought for a while that John was the best thing he'd ever heard. John was kind of coarse, and he had no problem telling the authorities off whenever he thought they were doing wrong. The problem came one day when John saw Jesus approaching and rather surprisingly announced that Jesus was actually the one, the Messiah, who they were looking for. Now, while some of John's disciples stayed with him, Andrew decided he wanted to take a closer look at Jesus. And he found that John had been right. Andrew was so convinced that Jesus was the actual Messiah that he wanted to follow him, and he even went to talk to his brother Simon about coming along to meet Jesus. As it turns out, Andrew made the right decision to follow Jesus. While John got a lot of attention in his time, Jesus was what they were really looking for. So what are you looking for? Have you ever found it? Well, some people think that they're looking for owning or being certain things. Once that happens, it isn't always the way people think it is. It's not that satisfying. So maybe, like Andrew, it's time to take a closer look at Jesus and see what is really there for us.